Hey guys, Stephen Bogren here from Pro Physique. Today what I want to talk about is carbs, insulin, and exercise. What's up guys? Are you ready to learn? Cool beans. Today's going to be a little bit boring. It's going to be a very sciencey, informative, how the fuck do carbs work when you exercise kind of thing, right? So let's sort of start off with what I see as a general misconception about carbs and insulin. So if you watch any of my videos with Paul, you know that we are very well aware that insulin kind of gets demonized really often. Why is that? Well, it's kind of because of metabolic syndromes, diabetes, and just in general our culture and diet. So that tends to be probably, I think, the biggest issue why. We have a very calorie dense diet for the most part. A lot of people are developing metabolic diseases like diabetes. And so since diabetes is associated with insulin, well, insulin resistance, and then therefore long-term inability to create insulin, that's why we see insulin being demonized, right? Even though it's kind of one of those correlations, not causation things. And so just like anything else with the body, when things are out of whack, it creates issues. Our body likes something called homeostasis, normal ranges, right? So when we're continually out of normal ranges, shit starts going wrong and gets broken, right? Very simple kind of thing. So a little bit, what does insulin do? Insulin shuttles nutrients into the muscles, right? Gets it out of the bloodstream. So essentially what happens is you don't want your body doesn't want blood glucose to be too high, right? That creates a lot of issues. Just like anything else, right? Blood pressure's too high, it's bad. If sodium's too high, it can be bad. If it's too low, it can be bad. Same thing, blood pressure's too low, it can be bad. So it wants it within normal ranges, within that homeostasis kind of range. But what insulin does is it takes that blood glucose, it takes nutrients, shuttles them into the cells, right? Not just fat cells, it shuttles them into these cells, it gets it out of the bloodstream. So, why do we associate insulin being bad? We associate insulin being bad because we associate it with shuttling nutrients into fat cells, causing fat stores, right? So that's our typical association with insulin, is insulin makes us fat. Insulin can make us fat. It can also make us big and strong. So when we eat carbs, blood glucose goes up, right? Because carbohydrates get broken down into glucose. They go into the bloodstream, and that means that the concentrations have thus increased. It has to do that in order for it to go to working muscles or tissue, right? So not just muscles use glucose, the brain uses glucose, everything kind of uses glucose. That's kind of our go-to for the body, right? So insulin helps to make sure that that doesn't get out of control, right? That it doesn't go so high that now we're having issues. Insulin is a very good thing. It keeps us alive. So remember that. Insulin's not a bad guy. You know, he's just kind of misunderstood. You know, insulin was the goth kid in high school. I don't know, is that even a good reference? Probably not. But, so what happens? And even so, insulin levels get suppressed during exercise. So the way that I like to eat my carbs is I like to put a lot of them around my exercise. Really, pretty much like half of my daily amount. Now, why is that? So why? All right, Stephen, Mr. fucking Science guy. Okay, why do insulin levels get suppressed during exercise? And I'm gonna tell you why. Let me tell him why. Tell him why, Stephen. All right, I'll tell you why. The reason is because something called GLUT4 becomes activated. GLUT4 is something that is in your muscle cells, and you can kind of think about it like the way it was explained to me is octopus arms, right? So it's sending its little octopus arms out into the bloodstream and grabbing glucose and pulling it in. Right? So it's pulling it into the muscle cell to use it as fuel for exercise, for activity, to create energy, right? Now, the rest simply, purely makes sense, right? So if blood glucose is being brought down because we're using it, right? It's being brought into the cell by this GLUT4. Then the markers that we have to release insulin to have insulin up will be suppressed because blood glucose is going down. So because of the fact that GLUT4 is helping to do insulin's job, insulin doesn't have to be released as much and therefore can be suppressed. Long story short is our muscles are getting more of those carbohydrates and they're using them to perform better. So this means a couple of things. So two, yes, that's stored in the muscles, but minusculely, less than 5%, right? So of total body fat. So what we see is one, carbs aren't going to fats, right? They're going to muscles because we're using them for energy and your body is utilizing that blood glucose. So it doesn't have the opportunity to get stored as fat when we're exercising, right? When we're active. Two, our exercise can be more intense, right? It's more fuel for our muscles to use. So yes, there's stored glycogen. Yes, there's stored phosphates. Yes, we have some things. Yes, we're still using fats during this time. We're still breaking fats down, mobilizing them, using them for energy. However, if our body is better able to have more energy on hand, and fats take the longest amount of time to use for energy. Carbs, they can be oxidative or non-oxidative. So we can use oxygen to use them. We don't have to use oxygen to use them, right? So it's a faster energy system, right? Which means if we're able to recuperate it faster and use it more, that normally tends to mean that our exercise has a higher intensity. If our exercise has a higher intensity, we burn more calories. Not only do we burn more calories during the exercise, but typically during the recovery as well. So it just puts us in general in a really, really good place to just fucking get a killer workout in, not store a lot of fat doing it, and to really make sure that we're treating ourselves as athletes. One of the biggest things I think, for me, that people have issues with is changing the way that they view themselves. Normally it's so easy, I'm just some fucking dude, I'm some guy. No, you are an athlete, whether you're a physique athlete, you want to view yourself as an athlete because now we're not looking at it as, hey, I need to not store fat, I need to not do this, I need to do that, whatever the case may be. It's, hey, I need to make sure that I'm fueling my exercise because this is what's going to make me successful, right? It's that consistency of training and nutrition that makes us successful. When we change that outlook on how we see ourselves for that, it can help to do that. Now, there's definitely a point where it goes too far and all we do is associate ourselves with that athlete personality or that athlete person. Different talk for a different time because I can go on for 20 minutes about that. But, long story short, insulin's not the devil. GLUT4 helps suppress insulin during exercise and physical activity, right? So what about afterwards, right? Again, well, we just said that insulin's not the devil, right? We just did damage to our muscles. We just used up a lot of glycogen stores, maybe some creatine phosphate stores and stuff. So now at this point, it's probably useful and beneficial if we have insulin up to help shuttle nutrients into those muscles so that they can better recover, right? And so that we're not doing further damage to them after the fact, right? Only unintentional stuff. So I also eat carbs after my workout. Now I also couple that with protein to make sure that I am getting protein synthesis via protein, but also getting carbs and energy into the muscle so that the muscle has energy used to rebuild and to restore normalcy and function to them. Guys, I'm a fucking dork. That's it. But I kind of know a decent amount about this stuff, so I'm going to try and share it with you a little bit more often. Hopefully it was interesting enough. Hopefully I captured your attention, and your hearts. I don't need your hearts, just your attention, actually. Anyways, guys, if you like the content, hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Other than that, have a wonderful, I think it's fucking Tuesday. It's Tuesday, and I'll talk to you soon.